Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. I get Shabbos, good Shabbos.
So this week is Parshas Mishpatim. Va'ela ha'mishpatim asher tosem b'fneihem. Everybody remembers Rashi. Ma harishonim b'Sinai, af elu b'Sinai. What's the chiddush? Don't we know that all the Taryag mitzvahs are from Sinai? Goes without saying. Mai kumashmalan, ma harishonim b'Sinai, af elu b'Sinai. The other question is, we would expect the first posuk in Parshas Mishpatim to be tzedek tzedek tirtov, ushefatetem tzedek, starts off with Eved Ivri. There must be something important and unique about Eved Ivri. The Ramban asked this question, and the Ramban writes that Eved Ivri, Romezes dvorim gedoylem b'maaseh bereishis. As we know, the Ramban was unique. He was a giant among giants. And the Ramban was the greatest Makubal of his generation, the philosopher, a Makubal, a Torah teacher, a Poisek. This mitzvah, Romezet ledvorim gedolim b'maaseh bereishis. But I would like to share my understanding. Many people have a mistaken conception that when we deal with Danamomenes, it is all about just basic decency. You have to be honest and straightforward, like every decent human being should be. And many people think that the Midas Toivis are just about being nice and compassionate as every normal human being should be. And people don't appreciate that even the monetary mitzvahs and the mitzvah sheben adam l'chavere are kedusha, are tahara. They are the word of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's not just about being nice and about being decent. It's not that the Torah comes to confirm what we would know without the Torah because we're decent human beings. No. The very first Medrash in Medrash Rabbah, at the beginning of Parshas Bereishis, the Torah omeres, Ani hoyisi klei manasoy shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I am the tool with which HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. When the king comes to build his palace, he doesn't build it by himself. Uman yeshlo. He has a contractor, he has a builder, he has an architect, he has an engineer. And those, they need a blueprint, they need papers, they need plans. Kach, Kodesh Baruch Hu omer. Istakel b'terose v'boro elamai. Hoy v'Kodesh Baruch Hu mabit b'terose v'boires v'olam. And the Zohar goes beyond the Medrash Rabbah. Toch hazi, kad boy Kodesh Baruch Hu v'salek berusei kamel mivrei alma, when Kodesh Baruch Hu decided, Olo beretzoinoi, to create the world. Aval mistakel b'yoraisa. V'kol uvde v'uvde de boro Kodesh Baruch Hu. Everything, every creation, every creature, have a mistakel b'yoraisa v'boro lei. It's not just a general overview. It's all the details. Nothing was created, only from the Torah. So my feeling is, it is only when HaKadosh Baruch Hu said in the Aseret Adibris, Lo Sinaf, that Niyuf became wrong and repulsive and evil. It is only when HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Lo Tignoivo, that stealing became unethical. Stealing became wrong. Stealing became evil. Human nature, human decency, human compassion comes from the Torah. It is the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu created man. So the Torah comes before the Midas. And the Torah is the basis of honesty and decency and compassion and just being kind. Istakel bo'oraisa v'bora alma. Ma elu mesinai af elu mesinai. Baruch Hashem, there's a wonderful new Minchas Osher coming out, Bekorav, and that is a Masechet Avos. Very much looking forward. I think it's an amazing sefer. And in the very first chapter, I discussed the name. Why is this Masechet of all the others called Avos? And why does this Masechet start off with Shasheres HaMesorah, Moshe Kibel Torah Messina, Mesorah Yeshua, Yeshua is a Canaan. we would expect that to be either the beginning of Shas or the end of Shas, not a middle of Seder Nezikin. I think that's the same idea. Because you come to think Masechet Avos is just about being a nice man. And if you're nice, you don't need to learn Masechet Avos. If you're honest, you're nice, you're loving, you're compassionate. No. Ma'elu Messinai afelu Messinai. And Chazal are the ones who teach us how to be nice and how to be compassionate. And one of the implications and manifestations and the Hanahaga of Midas Toivus. Ma'elu Messinai afelu Messinai. And that is why this Masechet of all the others starts off with Avos Oilam, to emphasize that you need to learn Torah and Midas from your Rabbeim, from your Gedolim. And Moshe Kibbal Torah Messinai, Mesorah Yeshua Vishun as a Kain of Yezenim Neviim V'Neviim Lanshek Knesset Gdoila, and that includes Masechet Avos. It includes Mishpatim. Ma'elu Messinai af Elu Messinai. Yesoid V'Shoresh Avodah has an amazing point that he makes in the first Shar Aleph Perek Ches. So many Hasidim, and today not only Hasidim, before performing certain mitzvahs, they say L'Shem Yichud Kiddush U'Berichu, or at least they say Hineni Muchan L'Kai Mitzvah say before Matzah, before Morah, before sitting in the Sukkah, before Dalad Minim. Every day in the morning before Baruch Shema we say Hareini Mezamen Es Pi L'Hoides U'Lahalal. The Shoresh Avodah says we should say the same when we prepare a cup of tea for our father or a coffee for our mother, or we go to the shop to buy some things for the home because your mom or your dad asked you to do so, or buy a Shavas Aveda. Same Kedusha, same Tahar. It's not just about being a mensch. And maybe that is why Ve'ela Mishpatim starts off with Eved Ivri. Eved Ivri proves that what the Torah demands is not just being decent, it goes far beyond that. The Gemara in Kedusha says, if you have one pillow, one cover, one blanket, and it's either you or the Eved comes before you. I think fundamental decency would demand share if you have two. But why would he come before me? I'm the master. He's the slave. He's my possession. But the Torah says no. Kol hakoine Eved Ivri la'atzmo kekoine odoin la'atzmo. It is as if he's the boss. If you have one, you need to give it to him. You're going to sleep on the floor. You're going to shiver from cold. Your servant, your Eved, is going to have the benefit of your pillow, of your blanket. And that proves Midas Tovus is not just be nice. It goes far beyond that. And it is from our Gedolim that we learn how, what fashion we need to interact. What are the Midas Tovus? And the basic honesty and decency of Mishpatim. Eila Mishpatim Asher Tosem Efneim. In my Sefer on Avos, I think I wrote an amazing thought. Sanedi Yudalev. There's a Gemara, and I don't recall any similar Gemara, neither in Babli nor in Yerushalmi. Gemara tells a story. Pa'amachas nechnes Rabbeinu HaKodesh, Rebbe lebeis hamedrash, ve'hirgish reach shel shum, Omar, mi she'ochel shum yetzei. Rebbe couldn't stand garlic, and he felt the smell of garlic, and he said, please, the one that ate garlic, will you please leave the room? Reb Chia's greatest Talmud left the room. And everybody left after him. The other day, Reb Shimon Berebi found Reb Chia, and he was angry with him. Ato hu she'tzi'arto la'abi, you caused so much pain and embarrassment to my father. Why did you eat garlic? You know that my father can't stand garlic, and it nauseates him. And Reb Chia says, do you think I would do that? I would never eat garlic before coming into the shul. So why did he leave the room? Shelo levayesh es mi she'ochel shum. I didn't want the person to be embarrassed and ashamed. So I shamed myself by leaving the room. And the Gemara says, asks Reb Chia Menayim. This is an amazing teaching. Where did Reb Chia pick it up? He learned from Reb Meir. Pa'amachas nichnasu isha lebeis hamedrash v'amru, Rebbe, echad mekim kiddishani b'biyah, omed Reb Meir v'nosan laget, omdu kol talmidim v'nosan laget. So Reb Meir did the same. He didn't want to shame that bad Talmud that had intimacy with this lady. Totally unacceptable. But Rebbe was chas al kavoidoi. And the Gemara asks, Rebbe menayeloi, Shmuel HaKotten. Shmuel HaKotten menayeloi, Shechanya ben Yechiel. How did he know? Yeshua ben Nun goes all the way back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Reb Chia was the greatest Amoira. He formulated all the brises. Reb Meir was the greatest Talmud of Reb Akiva. That's the Gemara native in Yud Gimel. Stam Mishnah Reb Meir. Never does the Gemara question their wisdom. Menayin loi. It is only here. Because we're dealing with mitzvahs. So when two mitzvahs or two halachas contradict one another, we have a set of fixed rules. As a dechalois, as a ein as a dechalois, as a sheyesh beikores. But when two moral values, ethical principles contradict one another, we don't have a fixed set of rules. On one hand, what a great mitzvah is to save a person from shame, from embarrassment. But on the other hand, you cannot tarnish your own name. You cannot hurt your own reputation. And this was Reb Chia's dilemma. If I just stay seated, somebody will be shamed. He will need to leave the room. If I walk out, I could salvage him from that embarrassment. But then, Reb Chia, the Rebbe, and the other disciples would be angry at me. So decide what to do, we need to look up. So Reb Chia learns from Reb Meir. Reb Meir had the same dilemma. He learns from Shmuel HaKotten, Shechanya, Yeshua, up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ve'ela mishpatim asher tosem b'fneihem. Ma'elu mesinai af elu mesinai. We need to learn from our great Gedolim. And we need to appreciate that these are just as important as those. Like the Ramban teaches us in Parshat Yisroi, why were there two luchos and not one? First one is dedicated lebein adam l'makom, the other lebein adam l'chaveri, and they were the same weight, same texture, same size. They look the same to teach you, same in value and in significance. Our Torah is based on two pillars, bein adam l'makom and bein adam l'chaveri. Ma elu mesinai af elu mesinai. Yerotzen, you should always have the schus of being mekayim kol mitzvahs Hashem ulekabel ol malchus shamayim b'yavo. Have a beautiful Shabbos.